Most agents are running a race with no finish line. And to be honest, most business owners are too. And that's why you're exhausted. It's not that you have a time problem, you have a strategy problem. In this video, I'm gonna break down why real estate agents, and if you're a business owner stuck in the same loop, how you guys stay stuck on hustle mode instead of operating like a CEO. And I'm gonna give you some ways to break that. You know, in sports terms, that there's always a goal, right? People, players are always moving towards something very specific. So in business, we have very specific goals. As an agent, you may have a commission goal or amount of houses you want to sell in a certain month. As a business owner, you may have revenue goals, how many leads you want to generate, how many products or services you want to sell. We have goals. If you don't have goals, that may be your first problem. But in having these goals in the back of our mind, we are just going, and we fill our days and our weeks and our months with these tasks, and we're always so busy. But are we actually being productive? Productivity and busyness are two complete opposite things, and sometimes we can confuse one with the other. Hustlers are doing everything themselves, right? If you are a hustler and you love the hustle mentality, you are doing everything yourself. You're always overwhelmed. You react to situations instead of being proactive. If you are an executor, you plan ahead and then you execute. You don't mind delegating your tasks, either to a TC, an admin, or to AI, right? It's not a hard thing for you to do because you know that's not where your best time can be spent. You're also focused as an executor on income generating activities. There are just some things, right? And there's a book I was listening to called Deep Work, and he said, the road of least resistance is always the road chosen when there are no metrics. So when you don't have a measurable goal, something you are working towards, you will always lean on what's the easiest to do. So you'll start doing busy work and thinking, oh, you know, I did so many things today. But if none of those things push you closer to your income goal, if none of those things push you closer to your client goal, if none of those push you closer to whatever goals you have for your business, then you really didn't have a successful day. And executors are always closing on more deals, right? If you are always reacting, you are consistently playing catch up, right? But when you have systems in place, systems in the forms of real true systems, processes, right? SOPs, employees, right? Assistants, when you have those things in place, you can focus on what only you can do and what you do best, right? What you do as the licensed person in your business. And you leave everything else to the people who are experts, or the systems and machines that are experts, to the other things that will still help you be successful. And a hard truth is, if your business only works when you work more, right? You don't have a business. You have a full-time job with no PTO. And it's tough to hear because I think coming from the 9-to-5 world and coming in the entrepreneur world, we're like, yes, I have freedom. I'm my own boss, right? And you could fall on the spectrum of being a super lenient, lazy boss that doesn't really care if you show up to work, or the one that's making sure you're up all hours of the night working. And I think there is a time and a season for that working around the clock by yourself. But there comes a time when growth is supposed to happen, and it cannot only happen with you. Let me tell you why hustling is keeping you broke. A lot of times when people think, I need to buy a system, pay somebody to build out an intricate, well-built system for me, or I need to pay an admin, somebody to do work and other tasks for me. You think, I don't have the money to do that. But let me tell you the cost of doing it alone. Every hour, right? And that's not even do hour. Every second, every minute spent on admin work, you are missing out on doing the bigger things that only you as your agent can do for your clients. The goals and desires to scale get smaller and smaller and more unrealistic, because if every detail of your transaction hinges on you, there's no growth available to happen. Your business falls apart the day you take a day off. It's a sign of a broken system. With trusted systems in place, trusted people in place, you should be able to take a breath, take a day, right? Without having to feel like you have to run hister-tister and that you are going to lose everything you worked for and built. Here are some lies the hustle tells you. I can do it by myself faster. And I used to be guilty of this. Child, you ain't doing it fast enough for me. You ain't doing it the way I would have done it. I'm gonna just take it, do, and do it myself. But when you start taking every task that you were supposed to delegate and doing it yourself, you're never actually doing the things that you delegated the other work for to do. And so what's actually getting done? Another lie the hustle tells us is that I can't afford help, right? Now, let's think about that. If you have help, you immediately expand your capacity to bring in more work because you're not doing it all. But when you're doing it all, you lose on deals. If you're still catching up on paperwork here, if there's some things that are falling apart here, how could you pick up another client in integrity, excellently, and say, I could help you if you are still catching up on so many other things, on top of being a human being with life? Another lie that hustle tells us is, I don't need it yet. I don't need help yet. I don't need help yet. I just started. Or it always starts with that, I just. For me, I know the Lord put on my heart at the top of this month, at the top of this year, in January, to build my systems and to prepare for overflow. I don't want to wait until the overflow is here. And I already started feeling it, right? I know I'm being stretched this year. I know the business is growing into what I dreamed it to be, which is an agency this year, right? But I know I cannot do it by myself. And so it would be unwise, it would be foolish of me to hear that and sense that for me and the business this year and not put systems in place and not put people in place. Getting all of these things and systems in place so when the overflow comes, they are taken care of in excellence, right? It may seem like it's a standstill now and it's like, oh, you don't got that much business coming in right now. Why you need all of that, right? You can only pay people when you have work for them. No. I'm preparing for what I know the Lord has spoken. I'm preparing for what I've prayed for. And if you're somebody who says, I want this year to be different in my business than it was last month, than it was last year. I want this year to be record breaking. I want this year to be beyond my wildest imaginations. Then the systems and the things you start putting in your place in your business need to reflect that faith, need to reflect that hope, need to reflect that expectation. Otherwise, I'm gonna just go out there and say you lying. Delegation is a strategy, okay? Not a weakness. Systems don't replace you. They free you up to do more of what actually matters. And lastly, execution is about knowing what only you can do, offloading the rest. Unfortunately, friend, you are not gifted and graced in every single thing, and that's okay. If you are a believer of God, a believer of Jesus Christ, you know that we are his body. And there are so many parts of our body, right? Look at your body. How many organs, how many systems there are. And no system could say they are better than the other system. Every system hinges upon the success of the other system. And so for you to think that you could do all things in your business, that's not how the world was created. Nothing in this world is in a vacuum. And so I want you to remember that for yourself and for your business. Here's a little homework I have for you. I want you to begin to audit the tasks that you're doing and audit the energy you feel when doing those tasks and audit the times that it takes for you to do certain things. The things that drain you, the things that is just like, man, I wish I had somebody else to do this. And don't pretend like you don't got tasks like that, because we all do. I want you to begin looking for what could be put in a system for that task or who you could hire for that task. Then I want you to start delegating based on that audit that you did. Delegate out in a system or delegate in a person. Then I want you to trust the process. There's going to be an adjustment period. I think when we go into these things thinking we're gonna hire somebody or thinking we're gonna implement a system and that everything's gonna be smooth off the bat, we are going in with very unrealistic expectations. I want you to understand it's going to be an adjustment period because it's new for you, it's new for the system, or it's new for the person. And sometimes some things or some people won't work, but it doesn't mean you stop trying, right? It's the same thing with dating. It's the same thing with looking for a doctor, looking for a therapist, looking for your favorite restaurant. You're just not going to stop eating food because you didn't like one place. Do you know what I'm saying? Give yourself grace, have patience for the process, because when you find the perfect thing, you will be like, oh, this is exactly what I've needed. If this hits home and you're ready to get out of hustle mode into execution mode, and you know you need a transaction coordinator, a listing manager, somebody that does admin and or marketing, you need some help organizing your CRM or just getting systems in place in your business, I want you to hit me up. hit me up in the description down below, okay? Book a consultation with me and I will see how I can support you. Send this to somebody that you know needs to hear this message. Drop in the comments one thing you are going to delegate, right, today. Like immediately, the thing you were thinking about as I was talking. And I will see you guys in the Divine Order Reset next week. Bye.